Hot, boiling flames incinerating swaths of land in what looked like a tornado of smoke and fire. Onlookers watched flames from the wildfire reach into the hot afternoon sky. Some of those watching were residents evacuated from Black Bart Road, the very area the fire seemed to be ravaging.
Crazy. But the wind was shifting bad last night. It was going one way and the other. And so those poor firefighters, you know, they've had their hands full.
Difficult to watch, not knowing if he'll have a home to go back to.
Sad, I heard parts of Black Bart have been burned up, so I'm kind of wondering what's going to be there when I go home, try to go home.
The fire moved rapidly across the ridge, sending more residents fleeing from their homes and others here to watch.
We met some people who live up in there, and it's just, I really hope that things are going to be okay. But, you know, it's a really good view, but it's a really sad one as well.
Flames now threatening and claiming more land.
A lot of jumps. We saw one crest the hill on the right, and then we just saw this one over the big bit jump less than 15 minutes ago. This giant cloud over the top of us is even scarier than the fire that's over there.
The need for further evacuations became clear. This fire, fast and unpredictable.
Tucked away from the busy I-5 interchange, 62 families live in this quiet woodland community. Families that didn't have it easy before moving into Spring Lake by Mutual Housing.
I lived in a mobile home with my mom.
Mary Bell Diaz moved here last year after struggling to live with her husband and 2 kids squeezed into 1 bedroom.
Very big difference now. It's calm here, everybody's friendly, everybody's nice, helpful.
But Mutual Housing CEO Rachel Isco says this is not your average housing development.
It's the first rental housing in the United States to receive certification as a zero net energy development.
Which means 100% of the energy used by residents is fully generated by these solar panels, an accomplishment that didn't go unnoticed by the United Nations Habitat Program.
We were completely shocked.
The complex is one of just 2 projects in the world to receive the 2017 World Habitat Award, recognizing sustainable and revolutionary housing projects.
It's really a validation of the exciting work we're doing at Mutual Housing.
Each unit has a light-up energy monitor.
When it starts turning orange, red, and fuchsia, it means they're starting to overuse energy.
And to cut down on water waste, they use these smart shower heads.
How does it know when it's hot enough?
There is a little thermometer in there that knows when the water reaches 90 degrees.
But beyond the technology, Spring Lake is committed to building a better life for all that live here.
Really, the residents here feel they're part of the solution to global warming.
Our task in the next week is to create a residence area within this 22,000 square foot warehouse.
It once housed a metal workshop, and next week it will house people.
We're in the process this week of getting this warehouse ready to receive beds, bed frames, walls, all the elements of feeding individuals, preparing for pets.
Leo McFarland is the president of Volunteers of America. They, along with a half-dozen other organizations, will operate the low-barrier homeless shelter.
They're not turned away because they're in a wheelchair. They're not turned away because they're a couple. They're not turned away because they might have a pet with them.
In just days, walls will be built to create housing pods, hot meals served 3 times a day, and there are showers and porta potties, plus nearly 50 crates for animals.
So everybody here in this shelter is going to have a locker and a lock.
Addiction and health services will be available for the chosen men and women. Access to this shelter is on a referral-only basis, which has some living in the community a bit concerned about the crowds that may follow.
We will be keeping a close eye to see really what those impacts are. Do we see the effects of that?
Alicia Sebastian is a North Sacramento homeowner. She says the community supports helping the area's homeless, but would like to see the responsibility spread throughout the city.
We hope to see other neighborhoods and other communities take a project on like this.
An emergency shelter for the winter months, now just days away from greeting its first guests.
It'll be home base for them until we can find that next proper placement for them.
Wayne Thiebaud's art has come from all over the country to be in one place for the very first time. It took the museum staff of 20, nearly 3 years to bring all the pieces right here.
A little more than a year after opening its doors, the Manetti Shrem Museum has a new one-of-a-kind exhibit.
Wayne Thiebaud is one of our own. That is what makes this project so exciting for us.
An American icon and painter, Thiebaud burst into the art world in the late 50s, just before the pop art movement took off. Many of his pieces have sold for millions over the years. He spent 2 decades as a professor at UC Davis.
People always said, Wayne Thiebaud taught me how to see.
His work coming alive on the sweeter side of the canvas, inspired by simple everyday objects. Curator Rachel Teagle and her team gathered the pieces from museums and private collections around the country. Deviled eggs from San Francisco and delicatessen counter from Boston.
When we started opening the crates, I teared up.
But behind every stroke is a story.
It sold to a bartender and he used all change out of the register.
Here's 9 candy apples.
It broke the all-time sales record for Wayne Thiebaud's career.
And pancakes was just a sample for a supportive colleague in 1961.
Oh my God, you've got something, go with it.
Here's candy counter.
It's kind of empty.
And bakery counter.
Bursting at the seams.
Both born in 1962.
They're paintings that were made together and intended to be together.
And like long-lost twins, they're back together once again. All 60 pieces created between 1958 and 68. The 97-year-old lives in Sacramento, and with an undying passion to create, still goes into the studio every day.
He is an artist who is very committed to education and what it means to make art accessible to everyone.
The exhibit opens on Tuesday with a public reception on Thursday, and the staff says they hope 97-year-old Thiebaud makes a guest appearance.